Today's review is sponsored by Old Lady Sadie, because she's one of the best girls ever and deserves infinite amounts of belly rubs.
Watch it, Alan, I'm shooting.
Kingdom of the Spiders.
Come on, Mildred, come on.
Spiders are fascinating and creepy. Hello everybody, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Once again, I am not in my typical location. I am dog-sitting Sadie for a while. Usual disclaimer, I apologize for the lighting and the audio if it's off because I am in the only location that's good for filming in this house. But anyway, let's move on. Today we're diving back into my comfort genre. I love a good killer animal movie or animal attack movie. These are the flicks that I like to watch when I just want to unwind and watch a movie. Everybody has their comfort genre, and this one is mine. And today we're looking at one of the most notorious killer spider movies, Kingdom of the Spiders.
I'm seeing this, but I sure don't believe it. God, I've never seen anything like this before.
The movie takes place in rural Arizona. We follow a veterinarian named Dr. Robert Hansen, aka Rack, played by the great William Shatner. Yeah, that's him. He's called to a small farm to investigate the sudden sickness of the farmer's prized cow. And the sickness starts to spread throughout all the livestock on this farm. It's soon discovered that this small town is being invaded by a colony of tarantulas. As the movie goes on, these tarantulas spread throughout this town, killing everyone in their path. We get some good spider set pieces here. Yeah, this is a very simple movie. Just a small town getting invaded by killer spiders. There are some interesting character plot points throughout the film, but the core story of this movie is simple and fun. I'll admit that I don't think Kingdom of the Spiders is a great movie. I think Arachnophobia is the better killer spider movie, but Kingdom of the Spiders is still good, it's fun, and it's an entertaining watch.
How many you figure are in here?
God, the size of this hill could be thousands, I guess.
You want to know how many's in this hill? I'll show you how many's in that damn hill.
Take
No,
it. Give
no,
me
go,
a chance.
This is another one of those 1970s PG movies. Remember, the PG-13 rating did not exist until 1984. So from 1968 to 1984, PG movies were a little more hardcore. Parental guidance actually meant something. Jaws was rated PG, for Christ's sake. There are some gruesome sequences in Kingdom of the Spiders. Scenes where we see people wrapped up in webs with spiders crawling all over them. It does take a while to get to the big spider sequences. We get it sprinkled throughout the film, but then once we get to the third act, the eight-legged chaos explodes. We do get some good stuff here. Spiders are an easy animal to make creepy. A lot of people are arachnophobic, or at the very least, find spiders creepy. The whole idea of these little things that wrap up their victims and then suck the fluids out of them, that's an unsettling thought. I used to be very arachnophobic, but over the years I have grown less and less afraid of spiders. I still find them a bit creepy, but I also find them fascinating. I'm okay with spiders now, I just don't want them to surprise me. But there are a lot of arachnophobes out there, and Kingdom of the Spiders will affect them. We all have our phobias, and we all have those movies that just work for us on a fear base. I'm terrified of drowning, so any movie that involves water works for me. There are plenty of people who are arachnophobic, so spider movies work for them. This is a case where the movie is not focusing on some giant animal, it's focusing on a lot of smaller animals, or a big group of various animals, which can be scarier and more intense in many ways. When you're dealing with some larger creature, there is a better chance that you can get away from it. You know where it is, you know where it's coming from. But when you're dealing with thousands of smaller creatures, or just an army of these smaller creatures, that's a different story. You see this in The Birds, Willard, and various other animal attack movies, and various other horror movies in general. The idea of being attacked by a horde of something is very frightening. It's one of the main reasons why zombie movies work so well. You look at zombies, they're not that intelligent, and depending on the movie, they're not that fast, but it's the fact that there's so many of them coming at you all at once. Yes, there's a low intelligence there, but again, there's just so many of them. The thought of being attacked by so much of something that wants to kill you, that's frightening. When you're dealing with a mass of creatures, the chances of death is high, but the chances of a quick death is low. And that's where the scare factor comes in. Whether it's a bunch of birds, a group of killer spiders, or a bunch of zombies tearing away at your flesh, when a character dies in this movie, there's a very good chance that it's not going to be a quick death. I'll deal with Godzilla any day of the week. The most likely scenario there is one stomp, I'm gone. But a mass of killer spiders biting me, that's gonna hurt. Kingdom of the Spiders came out in 1977, shortly after the movie Jaws, and many animal attack movies from the 70s borrowed story elements from Jaws, particularly the town mayor who does not want to stop a major event and just wants to ignore the problem, resulting in the problem getting even worse and resulting in more deaths.
For Christ's sake, tomorrow's the 4th of July, and we will be open for business. It's going to be one of the best summers we've ever had. Now, if you fellas are concerned about the beaches, you do whatever you have to make them safe. But those beaches will be open for this weekend.
We see this in Grizzly, Piranha, and of course Kingdom of the Spiders. Now, in Kingdom of the Spiders, the big event is the county fair. Now, the movie does eventually build up to the spiders attacking the county fair, and it's a fun, creepy scene, but the mayor in this movie is a pretty minor character. In movies like Jaws, Grizzly, Piranha, the authority figure that wants to keep the event going is a more prominent figure and is more... You see them more throughout the film telling people, hey, we're going to ignore this problem and we're going to keep going with the big event because we need the money from that event. But in Kingdom of the Spiders, the mayor only shows up a couple of times, and those scenes, he's not in those scenes for very long. Of course, it does build up to the massacre at the county fair, but throughout the film, there's not as much focus on the fact that, holy shit, the county fair is in town and these spiders are going to attack the fair. It's just that every now and again the mayor will show up and say, hey, remember the fair? And then he leaves and moves on.
I don't have to tell you. You know how the people are. They get upset at the least little bitty thing. There's a hell of a lot of money at stake here.
Sound like you need a beer, Mayor.
Oh, thanks.
The county fair massacre is fun. I just wish there was a little more focus on the mayor refusing to postpone the event. I think it would have been a little more impactful if that were done. The movie does focus more on the relationships built between our main characters, which is a good thing. It makes the kills more impactful. But the county fair is like the big set piece of this movie, and I just think that the build-up to that could have been done better. But what really makes Kingdom of the Spiders work so well is the characters. There are a lot of good characters here, and I always say that likable characters are important for a horror movie because that's what creates suspense. It can work with unlikable characters when you do it right, but for the most part, Having likable characters allows us to be on edge when they are in danger.
I called Tempe today. I checked you out. They say in your field there's none better.
What is this, cowboy psychology?
William Shatner plays Dr. Robert Hansen, nicknamed Rack. Shatner is, of course, an icon, mostly known for playing Captain Kirk in the original Star Trek series, his various roles on the original Twilight Zone series, but William Shatner is no stranger to the horror genre, showing up in movies like Impulse, The Devil's Rain, Visiting Hours, and various other horror movies. He's great in this movie. Of course, he's William Shatner.
How are you?
Great,
Good.
but my cat ran away.
Your cat ran away? Well, don't you worry about your cat. He's a tomcat. He likes to prowl around.
I put him in the same category as actors like Vincent Price and Peter Cushing. It doesn't matter what kind of movie they're in, they give 110%. Whether it's a good movie or a bad movie, whether it's a highbrow movie or a lower-brow movie, William Shatner will always be good in that role. Whether it's, Vincent Price, Peter Cushing, or William Shatner, they will usually be one of the best parts of whatever movie they're in. Rack is an interesting character that we want to root for. He's very charismatic, of course, it's William Shatner, but the most interesting part about him is his brother died in Vietnam, so he's been helping to take care of his sister-in-law and his little niece. It instantly shows us that he's a good guy, and we want to see him get out of this movie alive.
That girl I told you I had to go see, that's his little daughter. I kind of look after her and her mother.
I see.
Now, this dynamic creates complications. Rack's sister-in-law, Terry, develops feelings for him because he's taking care of the family, but many times Rack says, "I am not my brother, please do not think of me as that." He ends up dating the scientist Diane, who has come to study the spider problem. And yeah, this does create a little bit of drama. I do think that love triangles are the easiest way to cause drama in a movie, so I can take or leave them. I don't hate them, but I don't need them. But, much like the mayor scenario in this movie, this concept isn't really focused on. The movie creates the idea of this dynamic between these characters and then doesn't do much with it. It's dabbled in a little bit, but not enough to be impactful on the film. You could remove it and it really wouldn't have any impact on the story. That's my main complaint about this movie. There are certain things that could have been focused on more to make certain things impactful, but in many cases they're just kind of glanced over. But as a simple killer spider story, Kingdom of the Spiders is pretty damn good, and the characters are likable enough that we want to keep watching and we want to see what happens to these people. Plus, the spider action is well done. And then there's the ending. I won't spoil it here, but you all know how much I love a good final image. This flick has a good final image. All in all, Kingdom of the Spiders is a fine killer animal flick. There are a lot of movies in this particular genre that I do think are better, but Kingdom of the Spiders is by no means a bad movie. It's a fun flick with likable characters and plenty of spider action. And with that, let's get to the Grindhouse rankings. The body count is way too high for me to count, mostly because of the third act. The kills mostly consist of death by spiders, or the spiders causing a fatal accident. The spider action is fun, that's why we're here. For fans of animal attack movies, you will be satisfied. The characters are good and likable. It allows us to care about them, and thus be on edge when they're in danger. William Shatner is so damn good, of course because he's William Shatner. I think a few of the story elements could have been explored more, just a little more to flesh out the story better. It does take a while for the spiders to really start their rampage, but when they get going, they get going. The third act is fun and full of spider action, and the movie has a good final image. I'm giving this a 3.5 out of 5. It's a good movie to watch for Animal Attack fans. Not my favorite killer spider movie, but well worth your time for a fun movie night. As always, I want to thank all of you for continuing to watch and support this channel. Please leave a comment down below. Let me know your favorite killer spider movie, or at the very least your favorite killer bug movie. This is the Maniac and Sadie here to remind you that the Grindhouse will never die, and to remind you to give your dog plenty of belly rubs.